sacrifice to stand behind the pulpit. Amen.
Thank you, Lord.
So I just want to say, I heard the pastor earlier, he kept saying the Lord is blessing me right now. And that song just kind of stuck in my throat. And so I just want to sing just a little bit of that song and invite you to sing it with me.
Yes.
And it goes something like this for all of you that don't know. The Lord is blessing me right now. Right now. Oh, the Lord is blessing me right now. Right now. Oh, He woke me up this morning and He started me on my way. Oh, the Lord is blessing me right now. Thank you, Jesus. And on that note, I want to say a very happy Father's Day. And I'm so pleased to look out and see the many faces of fathers here. And many of those faces are my sons. My sons, their wives, my grandchildren. And so the pastor here today has been able to live through being a father, a pastor, and now a grandfather. And that's a blessing. Amen? And so I just feel especially grateful and honored to be able to speak this morning. And I want to say a special, if I can take just a special moment and say a very special Happy Father's Day to the pastor, my husband, the children of the father of our children, of our 5 children. And in the years that Pastor Burrell has served here at Gospel Lighthouse, I've only volunteered a couple times to bring the message. And it's probably very evident why. Because I get a little nervous up here. And so just bear with me. And each time that I have done the message, I get this real good reminder that it takes a lot to put a message together. Hours are spent in prayer and deep thought and meditation in trying to listen to what the Lord is telling me to say. For many years, I've watched the pastor manage his day-to-day tasks at home, in the community, at our church, on the telephone, speaking with people, visiting with someone who actually can stop and see him out on the grounds, keeping the grounds, and minister to them. I've watched him go through these hours of preparing for the Sunday messages. I've gone without a husband for many hours, many days, and sometimes weeks. But I know that his life is dedicated and set aside for the work of the Lord. And I am not the one to get between him and God. It certainly separates those who are called to preach and those who are called to speak. I definitely know my place and I know my calling. I have not been called to preach. I've only been called to speak occasionally. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you today for our fathers. We pray and offer this special blessing over them today. We pray for the single fathers.
Yes.
Give them strength, protection, wisdom through whatever trials they may be facing.
Yes, Lord.
Father, we ask you to guard their hearts and minds. Supply their every need according to your riches and glory. We pray for the dads out there who are being alienated from their children. We pray, oh Lord, that you would shield and shelter them from the pain. Break down the barriers that are hindering these dads from seeing their children.
Yes.
Give them your strength to wait on you, Lord, and allow you to fight these battles. Finally, we pray for the mothers out there who are raising families without a father in the home.
Yes.
Lord, please remind them that you are the father in their home.
Yes.
You are their provider, protector, comforter in times of distress. Let them know that you will never leave them, Lord, that you will never forsake them, and you will guide and direct them in all their ways. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Amen.
like many of the children I see sitting out there today. I saw my father to me was a big man. I called him Dad. In my mind, he stood at least 6 feet tall. He was strong and fearless. Well, actually, my dad was only 5'6". But he was strong and fearless, so 2 out of 3 is pretty good. My dad was my protector, my provider, and he was my friend. He told me that if he told me he was going to do something, I could count on it that he would do it.
Amen.
I trusted him and I believed in my dad. When I was obedient and he promised me my favorite candy bar, I always got it.
Thank you, Lord.
When I was disobedient and he promised me something else, I always got it. You get it? So my father was concerned about our family and its well-being and safety.
Yes.
But one day, my eyes was opened to another fact. He was also concerned about his community, his church, and others. I would like to share a story about a time when I was a small girl, and we had this big, vicious dog. I've always been afraid of dogs, but I've had dogs that I've come to love. But we had this vicious dog in our neighborhood. It was a German Shepherd. And ironically, that was my first dog I owned. And I was not afraid of that dog because he belonged in our home. He was my friend. He protected me. But this dog did not belong to me. It was very vicious. And we avoided that part of town or that part of our block because they kept this dog on a chain. And every time you passed by, it lunged at you as if it was going to attack you at any moment. So we just avoided it altogether and went around the block to get to home. Early one Sunday morning, I heard a woman screaming in front of our home. Her screams were so intense, it still chills me to hear those and think about how she was screaming that morning. I ran to the living room window and looked out, and I witnessed something even more terrifying than her screams. This huge dog had attacked this poor woman, dragged her to the ground. No sooner than I saw this, my father ran to her rescue. He beat the dog off her and drug her to our yard to safety. I was pretty young at that time, but that event, it was enough to prove to me that my dad would always be around to keep me safe. I was blessed to grow up in a Christian home with 2 caring parents. Not only did my father keep me safe, but he managed to shelter, feed, and clothe our large family. Now, if you lived in our household, you would soon realize that church attendance was vital. And any guest, family member, or friend who came to stay with us, and it was going to be a Sunday, they knew they better have their Sunday clothes.
Yes.
Even if they did not, they still were going to church.
Yes.
It seems like we were in church more than we were at home, especially on Sundays.
Thank you, Jesus.
I still have it in my mind, 9:45 to 10:45 was Sunday school, and you better be on time. 11 o'clock till, well, whenever the Spirit stopped, or the preacher stopped preaching, that's when we went home. It didn't stop there. Sunday, 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30 was youth training union.
Yes.
We couldn't miss it. And with a little break in between, we started over again 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock was night service until the Spirit stopped moving or the preacher stopped preaching. I feel that our parents did this. Maybe this was an arrangement made so that we could stay out of trouble. Because our weekdays, Monday through Friday, we were in school. And if it was summertime, we either had a job or we were at home doing chores. When Sunday came around, you didn't see daylight. You were in church all day. So we hardly had time to get in trouble. But of course, we still managed to at times. So our lives were filled with a lot of celebrations. And there was always abundance of food, fun, laughter, family, and friends at these gatherings. I knew that my parents meant well well because all these celebrations seem to be happy ones, and they always ended on a good note, and that was usually with good food. It seemed that every month there was some sort of celebration. My dad got up early, and he would start cleaning the barbecue pit, which he had made from an old oil drum. Maybe some of you have seen those. That was some of the best barbecue I've ever tasted. Then he would start the fire, and then he began to line this big pit with all kinds of meat that had been sitting in the fridge overnight, marinating in all kinds of seasonings. The aroma from the smoke was the invitation to family, friends, and nearby neighbors to come and join in the celebrations. And as I grew into adulthood, I began to wonder and question some of the events that we celebrated. I could name a whole list, but you can only imagine all the events we celebrate today in America. It's a quite long list. And so I began to question and do my homework and research. And to my surprise, I discovered that many of the celebrations, things we celebrated, have very little to do with my Christian faith. So I continued to celebrate some, and others, they got dropped from my list. However, there's never been a question then or now about celebrating Father's Day. Many of our fathers have made great sacrifices by working 2 jobs to provide for their families. They work hard to train up their children with the Word of God to lead them to Christ. Some have answered very serious calls to duty by serving in our armed forces to keep our borders safe and secure us from outside intruders. They have put their lives on the line to keep us a free country. Recently, my curiosity did get the best of me, and I decided I'm going to research Father's Day anyway. I want to know, how did it become a nationwide celebration? So here's a little bit of history I'd like to share with you. It was a very long article, but I had to make my synopsis in just one quick paragraph. So in 1909, a lady by the name of Sonora Smart Dodd was recognized as the founder of Father's Day. Her father, William Smart, raised her and 5 brothers after their mother died in childbirth. While listening to a Mother's Day sermon with her father at the Central Methodist Church, Dodd was bothered that there wasn't a day to honor fathers. It just didn't exist. She pushed for the celebration to be held on June 5th, which was her father's birthday, in honor of him. But planning for the event, it was pushed to a date, the 15th or the 3rd Sunday of every month. Even though Father's Day has been celebrated since 1910, and I didn't know this, but it did not become a nationwide holiday day until 1972. If you'd like to read more on that article, you can certainly Google just Sonora Dodd. So many times we don't stop and think about what our fathers do for us. As children, we look to them to provide home, put food on the table, clothes on our backs. Not to mention cell phones and tablets and video games. Did I get a nerd? We look up to them to protect us and keep us out of harm's way. We look for them to teach and guide us. A good father will lead his family in all truths through the Word of God and ultimately lead his family to Christ. Some of us have had those kind of fathers and some have not. We come to a time, fathers have always been vital to the family structure. But we've come to a time that families have declined. The family value has declined. The devil is running rapid, creating problems in our homes. The father is no longer revered as the head of the household. Changes in our law have dictated to society that children have more rights than parents. The very fabric in the home has been torn by allowing children to be disrespectful, disrespecting their parents, the authority, and each other. We live in an imperfect world, a fallen world, where there's no leadership, there's only chaos. Some fathers are no longer in the home for many reasons. Some have passed on, some have chosen to leave, and some have just flat out been kicked out. whatever the reason, there is a breakdown in the family, and the family unit suffers without the father. When the family loses a father, they sometimes lose a provider, and they lose their protector.
Yes.
Without a provider, the family usually falls into poverty. Without a protector, the family becomes easy prey
Yes.
to this world's fallen system. They turn to drugs. We have more teen pregnancies. We have more shootings. We have a lot of disrespect to the authority. This world is in a mess.
My Lord.
We're experiencing a time of unrest like many of us have never seen before. We're in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. People are dying. The economy is on the downturn. Police brutality has set the stage for protests that have gone from being peaceful to violent. Businesses are being burned to the ground and lives are being lost. How did we get here? And how will this end? We look to our fathers to provide for us and protect us. Now, I just made a statement that I want to reiterate again as I'm coming to a close. Some fathers are no longer in the home for many reasons. Some have passed on. Some have chosen to leave. Some have been kicked out. And if you will allow me, let me put this into a bigger and broader perspective. This earth is our temporary home.
Yes.
God, our Father, is no longer revered as the head of this home. He has not chosen to leave us. We've kicked him out.
Yes.
We have kicked our Father out of our homes, out of our schools. We've kicked him out of our nation.
My Lord.
The Bible tells us God is long-suffering. He does not want to see any of us perish. So he is waiting to be invited back into our homes.
Yes.
He loves us. He wants to be a father to us.
Yes.
He wants to be a father to this nation. We all need a Savior today. Not just our fathers, but our mothers, our teachers, our police department, our people that are facing cruelty in the streets. We all need a father. It is my prayer today that we will invite our Father back into our homes, back into the house, back into our schools.
Yes.
Let's invite our Father back into this nation. He is the only hope for America today.
Yes.
Now, when I was a child, I had only one name that I could call my father. That was Daddy. My earthly father's purpose was to guide me to the everlasting Father. The one who has been there for me from the beginning and will be there for me in the end.
Amen.
Because I have personally accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior, I have many names now to call him because he is many things to me.
Yes.
I can call him Abba because he is my Father. I can call him Elohim because he is my Creator.
Amen.
I can call him Jehovah because he is my Lord God. I can call him Adonai because he's my great God. I call him El Shaddai. He's an all-sufficient one.
Amen.
I can call him Jehovah Jireh because he's my provider. I call him Jehovah Rapha because he's my healer. I call him Jehovah Nissi because he's my hope.
Yes.
I call him Jehovah Rohi. He's my shepherd.
Amen.
If we want this pandemic to go away, we need to put our Father God back in our home. If we want this violence to stop, we need to put Father God back into our streets. If we want the police brutality to stop, we need to put Father God back in the courtroom. I want to see change in America. And if you want to see change in America, we all have to come together, get on our knees, pray, turn from our evil ways,